Happy Monday from the Aegean. Before I do anything, I'm going to show you where I am. Check this out. Ooh. We're so lucky. I feel so blessed. Can I be any happier than to do this yearly with my lovely papa and my family on this amazing boat outdoor. And this is where we are right now. Just had a lovely swim, all refreshed, ready to go. So today I wanted to talk about victim consciousness. Many of you know that I've been working on reprogramming my subconscious the last few months, and it's been a really interesting test being with family, because we've got 3 generations here. My dad, my sibling, her partner and my daughter. And we're all in a confined space on the ocean of emotion. Lots of stuff coming up. What's been interesting is in terms of the parental and the sibling relationships, it's been absolutely fine, really, really lovely, really nice to see patterns shifting and everybody getting on really beautifully. With the child thing, I am reminded of what my lovely teacher, Susanna Kennedy, said to me once in one of our sessions. Your daughter is your sensei, as in she is my greatest teacher. And it's true. Anyone who has children will know that basically they're like mini-me's. They come out with all sorts of things that they've got through taking on in their subconscious all the actions, all the behaviours, all the beliefs, all of the nuances and tones of voice and everything else, reactions, responses that come from being around 2 people or 1 parent 24/7. So I know I've definitely felt at times, and it really gets brought out in this relationship, like a victim, like there's nothing I can do, that I am an absolute slave to my responses and my reactions, and I see them mirrored in my child, and it's an ongoing thing that keeps happening. And eventually I think what happens is kids leave home and everyone's like, oh, it's fine now. But I'm really interested in clearing up the dynamic of things. And yesterday, aside from seeing lots of unicorn spottings everywhere, I saw a young boy walking by with a t-shirt which said, you always have a choice. And it is true, we always do have a choice. We have a choice in how we respond and how we react. But remember that when you are tested, when you are stressed, when you're in a moment where you have to act quickly, if you are put under tremendous pressure, you will respond the way that your programming has taught you to respond, i.e. the way the adults in your life responded to you. We are predestined to carry on the patterns in our family unless we make conscious choices to do otherwise, and we also reprogram our subconscious to mirror our conscious beliefs and what we want to shift to. Now, I know full well that there are times in life where we are faced with situations that are utterly horrendous, where it really does feel as though we have no choice other than to go with something that we don't agree with, we don't resonate with, we don't want to say yes to. And everyone else has free will too. And when our children grow up enough, they start to exercise that free will in ways which we really have no control over. We either roll with it or we resist it, and we create more and more of a wedge between us in terms of relationship. Now, I'm also reading the latest 50 Shades, and I'm reminded of self-respect. I'm reminded of soft limits and hard limits, and how important it is as part of our own self-respect to actually have some hard limits in terms of how we're prepared to be spoken to, responded to, dealt with, whether that's with a child, a partner, a parent, a work colleague. And also the soft limits are where there is some negotiation, and it's important we do negotiate, but that the consequences are followed through. If we don't say what we mean and mean what we say, we end up being walked all over. And I know many mothers, many fathers, many people in general will be aware of how that feels. So for me, in the having a choice, one of the things that's really important is to consider why the other person might be responding the way they are. I learned this from a parenting course recently, that it's really important to not label our kids in such a way where we're saying, oh, you're so like so-and-so, you're so like so-and-so, you always do this. When we limit our children or anyone else in our lives through the way they may have behaved in the past, we keep insisting that they follow that pattern. And I know how frustrating it is when I'm looking to shift my behaviour and those around me are saying, this isn't you, you don't do this, you do this. So giving space for change is really, really important. And also it's really important to remember that our emotional landscape isn't necessarily their emotional landscape. So what triggers us and fires up our emotions may well be quite different to what triggers our kids or anyone else and fires up their emotions. And compassion comes from trying to see things from not only our own perspective, but also the perspective of others, i.e. put yourself in their shoes. Now, compassion for self is vital, as is self-respect, as is self-forgiveness. And when we do act out of alignment, when we do act in ways where our programming has kicked in, it's really important to practice very, very radical self-forgiveness. That comes in any relationship. So I invite you to remind yourself this week that you always have a choice. You might not exercise it, but the first step is to become conscious of what you're doing, how you react, how you respond, even if you can't change that reaction or response. It's moving into the observer instead of the judge. And once you've started to observe yourself, you can start to see what's going on for you, and when you're weak and when you find yourself reacting in the ways you don't want to. Noticing the patterns in other people's behaviour is really important as well, and giving them some space. Keep it simple, be compassionate, be forgiving, because we're all learning to love more, and learning to love more means opening our hearts more and letting go of the crap that's already in there. I wish you a beautiful week. I'm going to be 37 next time I put a post up, because I'm going to have my birthday in a couple of days, and I will be on the boat looking at the shooting stars. So I send you loads of love from the Aegean. Hope this message resonates, and remember that you're wonderful. You deserve everything that you want for yourself. Be kind, be compassionate, and when you are faced with those situations where you feel like a victim, remember you always have a choice. Coming from love sometimes means needing to actually stand your ground and not give in. And that is the lesson for the other person, to learn for themselves your boundaries and the fact that nature has a way of self-correcting imbalances. Put your faith in that. Stick to your guns, ground, center, align, and enjoy. Namaste.